Right, maybe 30 more seconds here and we will kick things off. Cool. I think we have got a good set of folks in. Obviously, folks can kind of join in stride as well, and we'll send out the recording for anyone who comes in late. So, again, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. We're here to chat about RudderStack for Shopify today. We'll do intros in a second, but have a treat for you. The product manager who worked on our Shopify Source integrations is here with us. So let's dive right in. And first thing, we'll just kind of cover what's the next 30 minutes going to look like. So like I said, we'll do some quick intros. For those of you who may not be super familiar with RudderStack, I will do a quick overview of the platform. And then we'll dive straight into Shopify. So where we'll start is talking through what are the challenges in a world without RudderStack, right? Which would be a really sad world. What are the challenges that you will face in tracking your events from Shopify? And then we'll talk about how RudderStack is actually solving that for you. Have two different solutions, so lots of flexibility there. And then we'll walk through different kind of implementations of those solutions and actually get to see a live demo. So without further ado, introductions. I will go ahead and start here since I'm already talking. But I'm Brooks. I run product marketing here at RudderStack. Have been on board for a long time, over 4.5 years. And I think actually Dave is another seasoned RudderStack vet. So excited,
Yes.
excited to introduce Dave to you. Dave, how's it going?
Good. Not quite as long as you, but a little
Yeah.
over 4 years. And I spent a lot of time on the customer success side of things, and recently have switched over to the product side. And actually, one of my first projects was getting this Shopify solution out the door. So really
Kidding.
excited to uh, to be here to talk through it and hopefully show some fun demos.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so for folks listening, Dave is one of the folks at RudderStack that knows the most about RudderStack, right? I think I think every company has those people that's like, oh, just go ask Dave. He is he is definitely one of those folks. So super excited to have him on today. And let's jump in. So like I said, I will do a quick overview of RudderStack. If you aren't super familiar with us, maybe heard, hey, I'm using Shopify. I heard about this thing called RudderStack that can maybe help me. Well, quick overview. So RudderStack is a customer data infrastructure tool that gives you everything you need to collect comprehensive data from the entire customer journey. So you can see here all kind of different sources, including Shopify. But websites, mobile apps, you name it, you can instrument it with RudderStack, collect the data, and then send it downstream. But before it gets to the destination, RudderStack gives you extremely flexible and powerful transformation capabilities. So you can transform the data after capture, before delivery with JavaScript or Python code for all kinds of use cases, whether that's just kind of basic formatting and cleaning of your data, filtering data, but you can do some awesome things from the enrichment standpoint. So for geolocation or enriching things with kind of user traits, different customer data that you may have bought through like Zoom Info, something like this. Can also manage PII in flight, and basically do just anything you can dream of. I think some of our customers talk about it as like there's unlimited possibility with transformations, and then you can send that data downstream with whether that is directly to your business tool tools. So customer engagement platforms, ad platforms, CRMs, where it can be activated in real time, to your data cloud. So warehouse, data lake, you're doing further analysis, and even your existing kind of lower level streaming infrastructure. You can use RudderStack to get it really anywhere it needs to go. And the last thing I'll call out before we move on is, you can see at the bottom of this diagram here, we have govern spanning that entire pipeline. We have a robust set of features for enforcing data quality and compliance on your event data before it gets downstream. So a lot less cleanup downstream, and a lot less kind of infosec headaches downstream with our governance tools. So spiel over. Now let's talk about what we are, what we're here to talk about. Collecting data, collecting Shopify data. So one thing we have recognized working with our customers is, the kind of existing solutions for collecting Shopify data just aren't great. You kind of, what you get is a one size fits all approach, but in the real world, there really is no one size. And each Shopify store, especially as you get, you hit a certain level of complexity and sophistication, and kind of like your use cases for your Shopify data hit a certain point, and the sophistication of your store hits a certain point, you're kind of stuck. So you may have kind of unique architectures, and it's difficult to collect data from across the entire customer journey. You may need to customize what you're collecting, and then of course you want to be able to tie everything back to the kind of customer identifier. All of that is really hard with kind of just like the stock solution from Shopify. Can you tell us, just dig in a little more, and maybe tell us kind of specifically what you've seen from customers, like how are they struggling?
Yep. Yeah. So Shopify is very interesting because, you know, over the years, they've really started to hunker down on being a little bit less flexible, and with that, challenges arise. And so over the last couple of years, that's definitely become the reality for a lot of our customers. For unique architectures, we have some customers that are fully hosted on a Shopify template, so their whole store from beginning to end of checkout is fully hosted on Shopify. That's very different than some of our other customers that are what we would call kind of a hybrid approach, where their pre-checkout event or pre-checkout experience is fully hosted on their own domain, not
Yeah.
associated with Shopify at all, but then their checkout experience is hosted through Shopify. That brings its own host of issues and challenges as well. No matter what your setup is, things like tracking events or properties or user traits are very inflexible, because you need to be able to kind of get into the code and tell exactly what event needs to be tracked, what are the properties, and what those traits should be called as well. And so we've seen the struggles with that, with kind of Shopify or different tracking solutions in Shopify being a little inflexible in that way. And then the last one is the fragmentation of identity. So um, the best example for this is if I'm tracking events via Shopify's, one of many Shopify's webhook topics, those are going to have very different identifiers than if I'm tracking events strictly from the client through some pixel or through some kind of custom tracking method. And so we have a lot of customers that really struggle to tie those data points together, not only in real time, but also afterwards, maybe in the warehouse where they're trying
Mm,
to reconcile that as well.
yeah, gotcha. Cool. So like I said before, this is the sad world without RudderStack. But RudderStack makes everything easier, makes life better. So why Shopify and RudderStack? One theme, kind of just across the board with RudderStack is we are solving problems. Is we deliver a high degree of flexibility, kind of very granular control While also making things as simple as possible. So we try to like combine both of those things, right? Is like simplify, move faster, but still maintain all of the flexibility and control that you need to support, whatever use cases you have downstream. So RudderStack has built two solutions for Shopify data collection. One is the Shopify Pixel app. You download this directly from Shopify Marketplace, install it on your Shopify store. Super easy, kind of out of the box tracking. And then the other is a custom pixel that RudderStack has actually written that gives you, control across just a very high level of control. So, Dave, I don't know if you want to tell us maybe a little more. We'll do kind of full deep dives on each of these in a minute. But anything else to mention
Yeah,
on kind of the two solutions, or maybe even just tell us like why do we need two solutions instead of one?
yeah, and that's what I was going to try to touch on. The Shopify Pixel app is going to be your more traditional kind of plug and play app that you can download from the Pixel. A lot of kind of providers have that. Um, we've taken a lot of effort to really utilize Shopify's best practices when tracking events from there.
Mm,
So we're really excited about our Pixel app. We think it's best in the industry in terms of utilizing everything that Shopify has to offer. Now, the reason why we have two approaches is similar to what I was saying before, where there's a lot of our customers have unique Shopify store setups where the Pixel app by itself doesn't actually capture all the um, all the conversion events that they needed. And so that's
mm,
where our custom pixel comes into play. And this is the first time I've seen this instrumented for Shopify in particular. But RudderStack offers a fully customizable code snippet that is super easy, copy and paste it into a custom pixel within Shopify and get events tracked in seconds. And I'll show again a
awesome.
demo later on exactly how easy this is and how comprehensive the tracking is.
Mm, cool. Well, we will, even before the demo, we'll do a deeper dive on each of those. But before we get there, I wanted to just kind of set the fundamental groundwork here. So our two different kind of Shopify solutions are going to use three different tracking methods. Dave, can you just tell us a little
Mm.
more about each of those?
Yep, yep. And so our Shopify app pixel, which again is found on the Shopify web store, utilizes the app pixel events and webhook events. App pixel events are what you see on the right of those gray boxes. These are out of the box events that Shopify offers to be triggered when users make certain um, conversions on your web store. And so we're listening for these standard events, and then we're going to transform them into RudderStack events and fire them to the RudderStack source. And then from there, you can send those events to any destination you would like.
Mm,
Webhook events are a little bit different. They're still listening for Shopify standard events. However, they're in the forms of what Shopify calls webhook topics, which are very reliable um, webhook server side events that get triggered. So whereas the app pixel events are client side and may be subject to ad blocking and all that kind of stuff that comes with browser tracking, the webhook topics are super reliable, are getting fired directly from Shopify's server. And we listen for them. Again, we transform these events into RudderStack payloads. And again, we fire them to all of the destinations that you have connected. Now,
nice.
where things get a little bit different is this custom pixel. Custom pixels are somewhat new from Shopify. It's new technology, but it's a sandboxed, basically script tag that you can load onto your Shopify web store. They listen to the same client side events, again, the same ones that are your app pixel events, and but we fire RudderStack events on behalf of your web store to RudderStack. Now, the biggest difference for custom pixel events is because they're custom pixels, they have relaxed permissions, and we're actually able to load the RudderStack JavaScript SDK onto your Shopify web store. Traditional app pixels that you download from the web store do not have those type of permissions. So this is like, really, really cool that we're able to load the RudderStack JavaScript SDK. And I'll explain a little bit later on why that's really important for some of our customers' setups.
Awesome. So we'll dig in a little more to each of our options here. The Shopify Pixel app, right? So this is the kind of out of the box, just start easy, start quickly and reliably collecting all the kind of standard Shopify events. Download it from the marketplace, install it on your store. Who is this kind of best suited for, Dave?
This specific app is best suited for customers that are completely fully hosted on a Shopify template or Shopify web store. That's kind of one prerequisite that we suggest for the Pixel app. And then also, in addition to being fully hosted on a Shopify template, a customer that basically, again, wants the plug and play approach where, they don't really want to worry about customizing track events. They trust RudderStack to transform their events properly and align to our e-commerce spec, and they don't want to track additional events, or they don't want to change specific user properties or whatever. This is fantastic for those types of customers. You can literally get set up in seconds. And again, we'll demo all this a little bit later. And then this also gets really, really easy access to the Shopify webhooks, which is, again, what we talked about in the last slide. So we will subscribe to select Shopify webhook topics that really gear towards our e-commerce spec and give you instant, super reliable event conversion data for your users.
Cool. Next, let's talk a bit about the custom pixel. So we've already gone into some detail here. And it is a little more involved to kind of install this. But as Dave said earlier, right? I mean, you copy and paste code that we have for you in GitHub. You put that into a pixel on your Shopify site. And then you get kind of some we could maybe even call them kind of superpowers. But Dave, tell us who this is great for.
This is great for our hybrid store customers. So customers, again, that are hosting their own pre-checkout experience. Maybe their pre-checkout website is completely hosted on their own, not through Shopify, and they're tracking conversion events. So you have your pre-checkout, your top of the funnel events are coming through, not hosted by Shopify. So Shopify doesn't know that they've added all these products to the cart, or they've viewed all these different products. You're tracking that separately. Then once a user starts a checkout, they're doing all this great conversion data, like checkout step completed. Maybe they're adding their email address, and they're going through the bottom of the funnel. And because the custom pixel has the ability to load the RudderStack JavaScript SDK onto your web store, that tracking from top of the funnel to bottom of the funnel is completely seamless. Everything gets stitched exactly how it should be, and you have a complete user journey, which is super, super valuable, especially getting feedback from our hybrid customers who have struggled with this for years are finally able to get end-to-end tracking, 100%
Nice.
comprehensive.
Yeah. Cool. So all the standard Shopify Pixel events, and just talk to us a little bit about kind of like the customizable piece. What are maybe some real world examples from our customers where, hey, actually the standard events, we need to do something outside of that. Tell us just practically what does that typically look like?
Yeah. So, a lot of our customers adhere to RudderStack's e-commerce spec. But then some don't, and they have their own kind of different use cases around that. Maybe they have legacy systems that instead of product added, they track that specific event as add to cart. That's a really simple example, very high level. However, the custom pixel, because again, it's just code that you're copying and pasting from our GitHub repo into Shopify, you have the ability to go into exactly where we're triggering the product added event and just type in add to cart and boom, it's switched. Again, super customizable. At the moment you make that custom pixel, that is your code. So you completely own
Nice.
it end to end.
Love it. All right. So a number of different ways to actually implement kind of and combine these solutions. Simplest one is just kind of the straight up Pixel app implementation. Kind of what we talked about earlier. This is just kind of the straight up out of the box. So you get that instant tracking in both for the Pixel events and webhooks. Really, I think we've kind of already covered this mostly,
Yeah.
Dave. Anything else? Anything else to add?
The only thing I'll add is because you're using our standard Pixel app, the the challenge of that identity fragmentation is completely handled by RudderStack. So Shopify
Nice.
webhooks are coming in with certain identifiers, and then the Shopify Pixel events are coming in with other identifiers. RudderStack completely collapses those and resolves those identities in real time.
Nice. All right, so a little bit more complex here, but still very, very straightforward. This is a hybrid setup, still for stores fully hosted on Shopify, um, but gives you some advantages over the just straight up Shopify Pixel app.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about like why would you use this, Dave, and what benefit do you get from kind of moving to just using the Pixel app to using this combination?
Yeah, this has been, I think, the biggest unlock. One of the biggest unlocks for our customers is the ability to do this. We have a lot of
Mhm.
customers that really rely on Shopify webhooks because it's super reliable server-side data. However, they're still loading a bunch of pixels via RudderStack in device mode onto the browser.
Mm,
Now, the biggest drawback with Shopify's Pixel events are you're not able to kind of load them through your RudderStack device mode integrations because the RudderStack SDK isn't able to be loaded. So this solution gives our customers the ability to load a custom pixel, which in turn loads the RudderStack JavaScript SDK onto your web store, again, from pre-checkout to post-checkout. And because the SDK is loaded, we're able to load all device mode destinations, as
mm,
well as giving you niceties like session IDs and storing, first-party data and cookies and all that kind of nice things that comes with loading our RudderStack SDK. And then we subscribe to the same pixel events and then fire those RudderStack events not only to your all your device mode destinations, but also to your cloud mode destinations through RudderStack as well. And then one more final perk to this approach is
Oh, wait,
because you're loading.
there's more.
There's more. Yes, yes. There's always more. There's always more. Because you're loading a custom pixel, you now have access to, getting your hands dirty with the code and making some small tweaks to fill your personal business goals.
Nice. All right. And our um this is what you're telling me.
Yeah.
Most RudderStack customers are on this setup.
Mhm.
Little more complex, but actually really simplifies some things for
Yeah.
folks who have that self-hosted. We have our own custom website for the pre-checkout experience. But once folks go into checkout, they are on Shopify.
Mhm.
And this hybrid setup really simplifies, streamlines a lot of things, and gets them reliable data kind of across the journey. Tell us how this works.
Yeah. And so I'll just tell you a specific pain point that one of our customers had
Mm,
is they had a self-hosted pre-checkout website, and they were tracking all those events like product added, product viewed, all these pre-checkout events through the RudderStack JavaScript SDK. All that was working perfectly fine. But then when they got to the Shopify hosted checkout, um, and they were sending events through our app Pixel, the identifiers didn't match up because the post checkout or the checkout events had different identifiers than the pre-checkout
Mm,
events. And so this is where the custom pixel really comes into play, is because the custom pixel has the ability to load the RudderStack JavaScript SDK. Now your checkout events have access to the same identifiers that your pre-checkout events had,
mm,
and boom, everything's stitched together. So now they have
yeah,
full end-to-end tracking. Again, like I said many times before, but this really unlocked them to get a full end-to-end experience through RudderStack, to get a very congruent customer journey.
nice. And just a couple RudderStack customers that are kind of using this setup live today. I know we have, I think Manscaped,
Okay.
Allbirds, Crate and Barrel uses this,
Mhm.
and has been a pretty huge unlock. I think for all of them.
Yeah. Yep. 100%.
Cool. All right. Well, I think it's demo time here. Dave, I will stop sharing my screen. You can take over and
Okay.
show us what this looks like, kind of in the real
Cool.
world.
Cool. So let me share my screen. All right. So what we see here is the RudderStack dashboard. You can see it's very simple. We have one source, it's the Shopify source, and it's connected to kind of a demo Mixpanel destination. But in an ideal scenario, you'll have several destinations here, maybe your warehouse, your analytics tools. We support over 200 integrations that you can send this data to. Um, but for this general purpose, I'm just going to keep it pretty simple. And then we also have our Shopify demo store. So here in the Shopify app, and I'm going to go to settings. And what we'll do first, we will go and add the RudderStack. Um, we'll go and add the RudderStack pixel, app pixel that we mentioned before. Shopify web. From the Shopify web store, we'll hit install. Now, when you get to the configuration page, it's going to ask you two questions. It's going to ask you for your data plane URL and your right key. You can find these very easily in your RudderStack dashboard. Here's your data plane URL there, and then your right key here. By default, if you're using our app Pixel, we're going to subscribe you to all the webhook events that RudderStack supports. And then you have the ability to turn off or on your client-side Shopify app pixels. And then in order to get this identity resolution configured correctly, we'll press submit. We can also connect the embed script. This helps RudderStack track the identity resolution here. That's toggled on already. And then that's it. I can come back to the store and reload the page. And let's go to the source live event viewer. I'll click around, add to cart. We'll do some checkout events. Great. I'm back here, and you can see events are coming in really quick. Now, one thing I do want to show here is, in particular for a product added event, you can see, this is what a typical RudderStack event payload looks like. We will map all the properties according to our e-commerce spec. However, there's a lot of great stuff that Shopify tracks out of the box that may not necessarily fit into our e-commerce spec. However, we give you all of that, all those details in an object called Shopify Details, just so that you have the tools you need to fill whatever use case you have. We do that for every single event that you see here. And then here's a good example of, this is an event that's actually coming from the webhook. And again, we do the same thing, Shopify Details, but then we'll map all the properties as well here. That's really quick. Again, in a matter of seconds, we downloaded an app and got us set up. So right now I'm going to uninstall this app just so it doesn't conflict with the custom pixel that we're now going to set up. So here again in customer events, we'll come here, we'll click add custom pixel. I'll give it a name, RudderStack custom pixel. And now this opens up a kind of in-app IDE. We have our GitHub repository. We'll send a link over for this. But in Shopify custom pixel source index.js, I will just copy this whole thing and put it here. Now, all this code is 100% yours. You can do whatever you need with it to change any sort of value you want. The two things that are mandatory, again, are the data plane URL and write key. Let me come here, get the data plane URL again, paste it here, get the write key, paste it here. We'll press save and connect. And again, just like that, we have a custom pixel set up. I'll come over here. We'll do a refresh. And then I'll open up our live event viewer again. And then we'll come around and we'll look at some snowboards. I'll add this one to the cart. And then maybe, actually, I have too many of these, so let me erase them. And then let me go back and I'll add another one to the cart. And then we'll do some checkouts. Great. And boom, just like that, we have all these events being instantly tracked from our custom pixel. And you can see here again, this is coming from our custom pixel that's actually loaded by, is able to load the RudderStack JavaScript SDK.
It's awesome.
And that's end to end.
Cool.
Just did both of those solutions in under a couple minutes. So it really is
Yeah,
real time and you can get set up in a matter of minutes.
absolutely incredible. Cool. Well, I'm gonna take back over screen share here for 2 seconds. Just a couple things to wrap up with here. So to get more details, go dig through our docs. We will send this deck out in an email, and it pulled out some kind of select links here to get you started. But dig through the docs, and then if you want to learn more, current customer, just reach out to your CSM. And if you aren't a RudderStack customer yet, obviously we would love to talk to talk to you. So you can go rudderstack.com, request a demo. Our team will connect with you. Would love to dig in more to your Shopify data collection needs, and hopefully get you up and running on RudderStack soon. So that said, if y'all have any questions, shoot them. You can shoot them in the chat. We will get back to you. And other than that, Dave, thank you so much for your time. Was an awesome session. Had fun. And to all of our attendees, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Brooks.
You got it. All right. See y'all.